Hi everyone, chapter 14 book review, talking about strategic thinking and how it relates to the standards of thinking and using the elements of reasoning. So, rewatch the videos, still again, really think Dr. Paul does a great job of figuring out ways to explain things that make it easily digestible for the reader. This week we talked about clarity, precision, accuracy, relevance, and depth as the 5 main topics. And of those 5, relevance was one that really stood out to me this week. I'm not really sure why, just probably at whatever point I'm dealing with, whatever it is I'm dealing with is, the component about it that stuck out was relevance is the ability to consider only the factors that bear on the question, develop a sense of for relevance by learning how facts can impact the question. So the example, if the question is legal, then the laws are relevant. Only the factors that bear on the question, right? So this week for developing like our thesis and our topics for discussion, what things to duty are relevant when it comes to managing people, leading others. So talked about it already in one of my other posts comments, but the quote-unquote millennial question is something that I've been really kind of dabbling in and out of, researching, watching videos here and there, reading articles every now and then, but it's really something that I deal with on a pretty regular basis, actually, because I have a lot of times where I'll be talking with like a senior enlisted person who's maybe been in for, say, any amount of time over 16 years, and then you have airmen, new enlisted folks who are anywhere between 18 and 20 years old usually, and have been in the Air Force less than, let's say, 3 years. There's a lot of instances where back in my day this happens, or the airmen today are different than me because at the end of the day, I guess that there are some differences that I've found in studying, reading up on the different generations, and it's something that I will have to deal with in my time in the military, and I'm actually kind of excited to navigate through it, especially now that I've kind of settled on that as my capstone research project, because it's not something that's just going to go away. It's something that's going to have to be worked through, and because it's going to have to be worked through, the key idea from the reading this week was key idea number 2. There is a logic to it, and you can figure it out. There is a logic, I think, to finding out why it is that the airmen think the way they think, act the way they do, and ultimately do the things that they do. It's a lot of it does come down to the different ways that people are motivated, especially in the newer, younger generations. Like they're not motivated necessarily to, stick it out, get a job, find a job, and then stick it out for 20 years until they can collect their pension or do whatever it is. Like in my experience so far, the airmen are really about like, how can I get the most out of this for me that continually serves me and keeps me motivated to move on. So, everybody always talks about like, oh yeah, there's retention issues there, like airmen, or even in the civilian workforce, right? That people hire onto a job, they stick around for 2 to 4 years, and then they just quit and they move on to something else. So as managers, for me personally, it's difficult because you don't want to lose those good airmen, because it's the good airmen are the ones that see the value that they bring, the potential that they have, and pursue other options a lot of the time. So it's finding ways, creative ways, ultimately, to say, hey, look, I understand that you're interested in doing this. Is like, if you even still, do you still want to continue serving in the military? Are there things that I can do to help, you know, get you the things that will keep you engaged and keep you moving on in military service? Sometimes that works. Sometimes it's like, actually, you know what? I'm just done. It's not fun anymore, and I don't want to be in the military. Hey, cool, man. Thanks for what you did. Appreciate it. You know, and then you move on, and that's the end of that. But I think the idea that there's a logic to everything, that you can figure it out. You find ways to explore topics, and if you can be creative enough to think about why things are the way that they are, or have multiple scenarios that play out and meet that logic, then I think that that's a great skill to continue to hone and develop, because it's only gonna make you as an individual more able, or increase your ability, I guess, to see the bigger picture and not get so necessarily stuck down in the muck and mire of things of the day-to-day, but being able to take those steps back at the appropriate times and think about things at a bigger level.